Hi guys, and welcome to how many books can I finish listening to as I crochet some plushies, because I've got the cutest patterns saved ever. They've been accumulating, so it's finally time to kind of make my way through them, crochet the cutest toys on the internet, and kind of see how many books I can finish off of my TBR listening to as I crochet. So let's just directly get into what's probably going to be the most fun vlog this week, because I'm so excited. Okay, so for context, I already know what pattern I want to start this video off with. It's one I saw for this crochet banana milk, because if anyone knows or if anyone cares, I think the BTS guys, they're being let out of military service at the moment, and my younger sister is a huge fan. So tomorrow, actually, in real time as I'm recording this, Jungkook from BTS, he's coming out of military or whatever. He's her favorite member and he loves banana milk. So to kind of surprise her when she gets back from school watching their lives or whatever, I want to do like a little watch party for her. And as she's doing that, I kind of want to give her like a crocheted banana milk or something like that. So I'm gonna go get into that. I don't really know the details of it, so don't come after me because I'm not like a fan or anything. I just know off of her. But I do know I have to start that banana milk now, so I'm probably just gonna go pick out the audiobook I started last night while I was doing my nails pink. Continue listening to that because I have a decent little chunk finished off as I was doing my nails, and since the banana milk isn't gonna take too long, it's gonna be approximately that big, I'll go try to finish it off as I listen, and then we can come speak about my book and my new toy that I'll be making for my little sister. But it also means that because I need to give it to her tomorrow after she comes back from school, I kind of need to rush and stay the night, because let's be so for real, I'm not getting it done otherwise. And so welcome to kind of like an all-nighter, but also kind of crocheting really quick to kind of make that for her, because it's gonna make her day, I know, and I want to do something special for her. So this is the way I see it going forward, and this is how we'll go do it together. So see you guys in a bit with hopefully my banana milk made and a book read. Alright guys, so it's the next afternoon now. I was up till nearly like 4 in the morning kind of crocheting, kind of listening to my book, and I have finished the book, but I haven't finished the crochet banana milk yet. So I'm here to give you like a couple updates before I pick up the next book and continue listening as I continue working on this. All the bits technically of this are made, even the upper bits are done, they're just not stitched together and I have to weave these ends in. So basically it's about like half an hour, maybe 1 hour at max worth of work, but I will go do that and I will probably be done when we start the next book, so it's not like a big deal. I will finish in no time today, and then I'll show you the final product before I go give it to my sister. If anyone cares, this is my own pattern. That's the reason it took me longer, because I was like maneuvering and tinkering with a couple bits here and there. And if you like the look of it, again, I'll show you the final product at the end. I can always make like a tutorial video for you in case anyone's interested, because I really enjoyed making this. But this is how it's turning out so far. Now, before anyone's like, oh my god, it's so tiny, how long did it take you that, you actually managed to finish a whole book out while listening? Keep in mind, again, I was already halfway done with the book I'll be speaking about now, because I was doing my nails a couple nights ago and then continued listening to that, finished this out, because there were a couple things that went wrong considering it was my pattern, but now everything's fixed. And then this was also tangly up or whatever, so I had to go fix the yarn. But now it's time to give you book updates, because as I was doing all of that, the book, it ran out at some point. It wasn't very long to begin with, and so I'm done kind of reading and listening to I Found You. I stayed up till like 4 in the morning, finished it out in the span of literally 24 hours if you go look at it, and that's crazy. So it's time to come speak about it. This book basically follows this single mom called Alice. One day she walks right outside her house, and by the beach she sees this man and he's just sitting there. So she goes to come speak to him because the weather is terrible and stuff, and she just goes, who are you, why are you here? And he has no idea who he is. He's lost his memory, so he's just out there in really shitty weather without a jacket, freezing his ass off, doesn't know where he's gonna go to, doesn't know where he's come from. And so she takes pity on him and kind of invites him back into her house, gives him food and like clothing and like just a warm place to stay. Except now she's wondering if that was a bad idea and if he's a criminal, because she's got young children at home and she kind of doesn't want to hamper their safety in any way. On the other hand, we have, in a completely different perspective, this really young newly married wife, Lily, and she actually is waiting for her husband to get back home. So he's not back at his usual hour from work, and she keeps phoning him or whatever, and he just doesn't show up for a few days. So she ends up reporting him as a missing person to the cops, and when she provides his passport, she is told that he does not exist because his passport is fake. So now she's wondering, where is her husband? Who did she even marry? Because the whole name and identity that he gave her is completely fake. And what's actually going down with her life, because she's married him, she's known him for a little over like 10 days or something like that, and now she's trying to wonder what kind of mess she's gotten herself deep into, and so now you're trying to wonder how these two kind of storylines and plot lines connect, and this is all happening in present day. We also have like a past and present timeline. So in the past, you're following this family going on vacation, and you're trying to see what goes down and what goes wrong when they start befriending one of the locals there who's actually acting really sus. So all three of these perspectives, at some point they kind of line up and show you the story that's been building since the very beginning, pieces coming into play. And one thing I'll say about Lisa Jewell, I've read one of her other books, I think it was called None of This Is True, a couple years ago at the time it came out. I wasn't a fan of that specifically because I feel like it was very slow to get into, but this one specifically had my attention. Maybe it's the audio format, because truly it was so fast paced, I just literally flew by with it. I honestly just picked it up because it was like a beach reference book and I wanted something summary to begin with, but I'm so happy I did because this was truly crazy. I was not able to put it down up till 4 in the morning listening to it, and as soon as I finished, I'm not even joking, my hands were trembling. I was trying not to throw up, because if you don't want to read something like this, genuinely don't go pick it up. See triggers before you do, because it was very heavy and deep on stuff you should probably be alerted about before you get into it. Had I known, I don't even know if I would have read it at this point, but it's so crazy and wild because her books, this is the second one I'm reading by her, they make me feel a certain way wherein it's just gross the feeling you feel afterward, because it's crazy, and because the stuff you read about in her books, it kind of feels like it could have happened potentially in real life, because her books are kind of like a very good description and depiction of how hell is empty and all the demons, they're here and they are the humans or whatever. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now, but that's basically how I feel. And so if you told me the stuff that happens in her books also happens in real life, it's believable enough in the sense that humans are messed up, they would go that far, and it shows you kind of how messed up they are, except the way it's portrayed, sometimes it makes you feel sick, and that's how I felt yesterday. So it was very twisted. It was a good read, but frankly I don't know if it's really worth it because it goes very deep and it's very graphic, and I couldn't handle it. I can't really stomach stuff like that, so I don't know if I'll be reading more of her backlist. I would love to someday. It's just the feeling I feel afterward. My heart is pounding. I feel like complete shit, scared of other humans out there and trying not to have a panic attack. I probably don't want those feelings again, so I don't really know. For comparison's sake though, if anyone's ever read the book Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, that's I think like a 5-star read of mine from last year. Again, it's a very heavy book with heavy topics if you want to read it, but the same feelings I got from reading that book, not the story, just the feelings, are what I got from reading this, and nothing's ever made me feel that way. Hopefully nothing ever will again, because it's a horrible feeling, but that's how I felt. So for comparison purposes, I thought I'd just mention that. And now we're done with the review. I'm gonna give it like 4 stars. Heart is probably still pounding so hard from it because that was actually crazy what I read, and it's wild to see what humans can get up to, but also it's really good to know that your eyes are open to actually what the world's about. So anyway, that's it for this book. I'm gonna move on, maybe pick up like a romance and make myself feel better, because I'm truly in the worst of slumps. I actually picked this up right after my 4th Wing reread a couple days ago, because that vlog is done or whatever, you see it at some point, full spoilers, 4th Wing. And because of my reread, I was in a huge slump wherein I was hoping it would get me out of it, and it definitely has, but it's put me in another slump of its own, which means if I don't read something really sweet and nice and wholesome and just palate cleansery right now, I could be really down bad because I'm not feeling the best right now. So I'm gonna go see what I'm gonna pick up from the TBR next. Again, looking for a summer romance, so hopefully we'll find one that really hits and hopefully gets me out of the horrible feelings I'm feeling right now. And I'll continue crocheting, so you guys hopefully in a bit once this is done and once I have my next book picked out, and I'll show you what it turns out like, because that's gonna be so fun. We all know I'm waiting for that, and I'll see you guys in a bit. That's it. Bye. Hi guys, it's the next afternoon and literally no one's gonna believe me when I say it, but I've finished our next little romance book for this video. I've also finished our first plush of it, but before I show you the plush, let's speak about the book because it's been a day, but I actually finished speeding it out throughout all of yesterday, and so it's time to kind of speak about my, experience of reading The Layover by Lacie Waldon. Now for context, before anything, it is a shorter length romance book, do not come after me, and I was listening on audio on 4x speed because a couple books ago I was listening to 4th Wing as graphic audio or whatever, and I had to really lower my speed on that since there was too much going on in the background with the sound effects and everything for my brain to compute, and so I went back down to 2x or whatever. But then as soon as I switched over to normal audiobooks wherein it's just one person speaking and there's nothing going on in the background, for some reason my brain capacity opened up and I was able to I guess upgrade and level up, max my speed to kind of 4x now. So it's going by even faster, and I finished only like about 2.5 hours or something, 3 hours listening, which wasn't a lot. And because it wasn't a lot of time to begin with as well, I managed to finish up Plushie as well. So first, about this book specifically, I know I sped through it and I know I didn't really speak about it, so I'm going to give you a summary and then I'm going to give you thoughts. Basically follows this, I guess, like flight attendant or whatever. She's called Ava Green, and she's going to go finally on her last flight of her life before she's just going to end it all or whatever, and then settle down and get married and give herself the dream she's always been hoping for. Except now, because it's her first flight in a career of 9 years or whatever, her last one, I'm sorry, she decides that she wants to have like the best one ever, and she wants to leave her career with a bang, so it needs to be literally perfect. Except as she pulls in for her last like flight or whatever she's ever gonna do, she realizes that former pilot Jack Stone, who is her complete rival when it comes to all of this, he's coming on board as well as part of crew, and suddenly she's so mad and she's kind of hoping everything goes to plan or whatever, because she kind of knows him from like a really bad past experience where he was involved in one of the most embarrassing nights of her life, and she hasn't forgiven him for it. Except now, looking back or whatever, she doesn't want him to come spoil her last experience for her as well. Except as they start interacting whatever, he's flirting with her, and suddenly she's just wondering if the whole opinion she had of him from that one previous embarrassing night is correct in the first place, because he doesn't really seem like that kind of guy. He seems so much better, and so she's falling for him throughout all of this, and now she's wondering whether she wants to continue her flight career or whatever. She wants to keep her head in the clouds, or she wants her feet firmly planted to the ground or whatever and moving on with her life. My thoughts for this book: I absolutely hated it. Do not come after me, because I didn't really see the reasoning as to why she hated him, and so the first 60% of this book is just her hating him for no absolute reason and going along with her life. And so as that's happening, this is not marketed to be a literary women's fiction, and so I didn't really see that coming. So the first 60% essentially is her life story, and then after that the next 40% is also her life story but with like a subplot of romance, and so I found that very boring to begin with. And then because the first 60% you don't really have context on why she's hating him, it just feels like she's hating him for no absolute reason, because he doesn't seem like that bad of a person. Except once you get the reasoning, I do understand, but I wish that came, I guess, sooner in the story for you to actually sympathize with her. But then alongside that, I feel like the execution of plot was very messy, and the storyline, it was all over the place, because she's got that bad experience from the past, which is the whole reason why she doesn't really trust like pilots or whatever, and she just wants to settle. And as all of this is going on, she's going on her last trip or whatever, she's engaged to another man in like the city or whatever, and so the entire time now she's starting to bond with Jack during. It feels like emotional cheating. And then not just that, I didn't really see the whole chemistry between the two of them either. So when she finally does break it off with her like fiance or whatever, and she starts pursuing stuff with him, I was so checked out. I literally didn't care, because them two as characters just stay away from each other. Maybe you're not meant to be. They're saying a couple things and you expect me to like swoon over it because whatever, it's like a romance book, but really, I don't know, it was just all over the place bad. I didn't really enjoy it. It was like a quick, I guess, vacation-y kind of read, and I definitely got in my summer mood that I wanted to. Definitely got out of that mini slump the Jewell book put me into, but I'd rather be in that slump than have read this, because it was just so dull that I felt like honestly nothing was going on. It was going back and forth, and finally, I don't think I mentioned this in my summary, on the flight or whatever, it's like a 3-hour flight that turns into a weekend layover because something goes wrong in the flight. When they stay back at that hotel for the layover and you're supposed to get vacation vibes, I feel like the plot of the story completely changes, because now they're focusing on the vacation rather than the fact that she's got a fiance at home, or I don't know, the new romance that's budding with Jack. And all of it just felt wrong to accumulate into this one big mess that I really didn't enjoy. So I'm gonna give this book like 2 or 2.5 stars, and let's just quickly move on, because the cover is cute but I don't want to look at it anymore, because it's reminding me of the fact that maybe I'm getting into a slump with all the books I'm reading, because cheating is not cool. Maybe it's becoming a thing in books now, but honestly, reading it in any book makes me so disgusted. I hate it, and it's happening a little too often this month, so time to move on and find something better that hopefully doesn't have it. Now about the crochet plush. If anyone's actually going to question it, I'm so sorry. I really don't know how to prove it to you, but it actually took me all of that audiobook as I was listening to kind of finish this out, because again, it doesn't really make sense, so don't come after me, because I'm not a native Korean. I don't speak Korean. I cannot write in Korean. I just saw the Google translation and I tried to like crochet banana milk or something like that on here, and it took me about a couple hours only to do that, because again, you can't really tell what I've crocheted. It just looks like lines. If you can tell, you're like a genius. But I tried really hard and it kept, getting bad or whatever, so I kept going back, scrapping it, cutting it out, and then redoing it. And thanks to all of that, going back and forth, trying to perfect my writing in it, perfect my embroidery in it, the time went by. I finished with the audiobook, but also it still looks like a mess and I don't like it, but everything's stitched into place. I did end up adding a straw as my sister requested as well, and the first plush is complete for this video. So now we can move on to the next one. If anyone cares, now I'm thinking I want to make something called a dodoko. Again, do not come after me because I don't know half the things I'm talking about in this video, and that's because I know it's my birthday week this week, but it's the month of June, and in exactly a couple weeks from now it's gonna be my best friend's birthday. We're both June girlies, and because I haven't started working on her gift yet and she loves playing the game Genshin Impact, I really want to do that, because I actually asked her in this offhanded topic mention, told her I saw it on her Snapchat, but really I didn't. I was just lying. I saw it off of this video on YouTube. I'm gonna try to crochet her one of the characters essentially from her favorite video game, and I've confirmed that it is in the game. So now that I know, I'm just gonna go ahead with it and do it now because I have the free time right now. Later next week onwards, I'm gonna be really busy with something else, and so might as well get it done now in this video as well. So I'm gonna go find another book, hopefully off the TBR, that isn't as bad as this one specifically that we just read, and hope that it's gonna get me in the mood as I'm crocheting that dodoko. Again, all the references in this video, please do not come after me. I actually cannot confirm if Jungkook from BTS really likes banana milk. It's just something my sister said. I haven't fact checked, and neither can I go and confirm if dodoko is actually from Genshin. It's just something I asked my friend offhandedly, and I don't even know if she understood what I was asking. So do not come after me if all the references in this video are wrong, because I haven't gone back and look on it. I'm not really part of those fandoms, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And so now let's just get into crocheting that off of this video tutorial I found on YouTube. I'm gonna go work on it now. Hopefully that's gonna turn out better than this did, because I hate it, but I'm still ready to give you like a video tutorial if you want. And I'll go pick up the book and hopefully it'll be better. So see you guys hopefully in a bit with more, I guess, better updates and more frequent updates, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, bye. So it's later in the same evening. It's kind of getting to nighttime, I guess, and I really need to get good about these updates, because I feel like whenever I just get stuck in one spot, I am gonna, or I'm most likely to sit down and finish that book out in the spot, even if I don't like it, even if I'm loving it. And so here we are a few hours later. I have gone ahead and finished the next book I picked up for this video. Again, no one's gonna believe me because I don't have the proof, but I sat down the entire evening. I ended up listening out to Alex approximately, but we'll speak about that book in a sec, because I managed to finish yet another plush. I started crocheting kind of like, so I wanted to start the thing I was gonna make for my friend, the dodoko, except I realized I don't have the colors for it. So I took the biggest L with that, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have to hold off on it until I can actually get the right colors, because the thing with me is I carried a bunch with me of most of all my colors when I went on vacation, and over there I ended up finishing out quite a bit of what I already had. So I haven't gone back to the craft store to replace it, and the one we used to have like really close by, I don't know if it's shut down or what, but I don't really see it. So I'm gonna have to go all the way back into town and get it, which is why I'm being lazy. And so I'm gonna have to put it off, I think, like a week or so before her birthday, and then start on it in moment, because until then, unless I have an excuse to, I'm probably not gonna leave the house, because I'm that bad of an introvert. Which is why I figured, okay, let me crochet something else I found online. And so I actually saw this thing that people make a heart and then make like a cat out of it, except I'm not really a huge fan of cats, because I'm more of like a cockatiel girl, which is why I figured, why don't I try to make like a bunny bear thing instead. And so I don't really know what I made. It looks like a llama with a heart, but I think it turned out cute, and I wanted something specifically for like a keychain so I could carry my stuff on it when I head off to college or whatever. So I think it's cute enough. Again, I don't have the keychain hooks or rings, so again, when I go to the craft store in town, I'll finish it up by just adding a hook. But this is what I made so far, and it's kind of taken off of like a YouTube video, except again, I went back and changed my own pattern or whatever for it, because here's the thing with me. If I've been given like a tutorial to follow on YouTube, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna modify it to kind of fit my own needs or whatever, which is why this is turning out the way it is or whatever. This is supposed to be like the tail, and I added like some blush effects or whatever and stuff to the ears. Again, I don't know what I've really done with this, but I think it turned out cute enough, and I think it's pretty sweet. So can't wait to make this a keychain and actually get the stuff to do it. But that will again be in the near future. I don't really know when. So for now, this is complete, and as I was listening to my book, the whole book, I managed to finish it out while completing it, and another half of a second book. So I think we'll speak about that later, but for now I did manage to listen to the whole of Alex approximately while I started this, and I finished that out, and then the other book I'll get to that. But basically, Alex approximately is this book about this girl Bailey. She's kind of like a movie nerd or whatever, so everything you and I have about books or whatever, we geek out over it. She's kind of like a movie geek, so she, obsesses over all kinds of movies and has like, that as her side hobby passion. And one day she actually starts this like speaking online with this other guy, Alex, who's also a movie geek, and they start nerding over it together, and soon her online best friend Alex is probably the most important part of her life. Soon she realizes maybe she's falling for the guy online, except she doesn't know what to do about it because she lives in a completely different state than him. Except one day this thing happens wherein suddenly she's deciding to move back in with her dad, and her dad lives in the same state as Alex. So it turns out she could potentially meet Alex and start up a connection, except now she's wondering maybe all of what happened between the two of them isn't real or whatever. Maybe he's some sort of creep or whatever. So she has kind of like the month before she's decided that okay, she's gonna meet him at the end of it to figure out who he actually is. So it's like a small town. She's going there now. She hasn't told him she's coming yet. She's just telling him that they'll meet at the end of the month or whatever, and until then she's kind of gonna try to scope out everyone who's over there and try to figure out or get a feel for who might be Alex, so she knows if he's not a creep or not. And then on the other hand, as all of that's happening, she's actually taken up a summer job at the museum, and there's this other guy there called Porter Roth, and he's like really infuriating. He's kind of like the enemy or whatever, wherein they're rivals because he doesn't really come across as the best guy or whatever. There's like this point when he's like making jokes on her or whatever, and she's not really having the best time with him, except one day they have this interaction that makes her realize, okay, maybe people aren't supposed to be judged like a book by the cover, or he isn't really what his appearances define him to be. So suddenly she's starting to fall for Porter in real life. She knows she's fallen for Alex online. She kind of needs to make her decision, except what she doesn't know is Porter is hiding his own secret. He might be Alex, approximately. So the book is really great in the concept. She's trying to find Alex, but maybe she's already found him, and now it depends whether she wants to consider her real life love or her online crush or whatever. And it's really sweet because it's like YA new adult, I would say, more on the new adult side. And so the way it happened, I had the best time with it. I'm not even joking. There were specific scenes that I was giggling out so loud because they were so funny. And the thing with YA is they always got some really good emotional connection to it, because the most that can probably happen between the two characters is them kissing, and so the build-up needs to be really good. And so the way they were bantering, I was having the best time, even though I didn't really understand what most of it was about because I haven't watched most of the movies they were talking about. However, I can today officially sit down and say I read a book that references Scarface, 10 Things I Hate About You, and from that movie specifically Heath Ledger, and Harry Potter. That's literally my official review because this book had it all, and so it definitely catered to me in some aspects as bit, and I was really happy about that. I will also say the whole online secret identity thing, this is not the first book I've read with that trope, so I have like a feel for that trope kind of, but I feel like this book is the best one that handles it the way it should be handled, because the other books, I don't really like them for the same reason or whatever. Here, the way it was carried out towards the end, I had the best time. I also really loved them like, connecting or whatever and getting more emotional and having that soul deep connection rather than anything physical or whatever from whatever books we've read in the past video in the past week or so. And so I'm really happy I picked this one up from whoever's recommendation I saw it, because I've been seeing this get a lot of hype online, and it deserves all the hype for good reason because it was a really good time. So I'm gonna say like 3.5 to 4 stars. Have to go make up my mind on that. But the thing is, I sat down and on 4x speed or whatever managed to listen to it in one sitting. I did not get up from here, not once for water, not once for the washroom or whatever. It's crazy. So I was invested, as you can probably tell, and now I am hungry. So I'm gonna go for dinner. But basically, I had the best kind of reading marathon, kind of listening marathon of my life as I kind of went about making this. And now I have a cute book I finished out. I have a cute almost keychain ready to kind of take to college with me, and I'm happy. So I'm probably gonna go now finish the half of the second book I started, because that book wasn't really enough, Alex approximately, to kind of finish this out. I still needed half of another book, and then I managed to finish this. And so I don't really know if you're making more plushies in this video, because I definitely do need to be worrying about other things now. It's my birthday day after. I'll be making like a different vlog on it, and so maybe we're finishing the vlog off by tomorrow, but it really depends how many plushies I choose to make in the time from now to tomorrow. maybe none. So I'm just gonna see if I can finish off the rest of the half or whatever of the current book I started while I was doing this or whatever, and use that up in errands or something. And so I'll update you guys tomorrow about it by the time I'm done, and kind of give you like a summary of my thoughts or whatever, because it's not going to show up in a different video, which is why the video is still going. I just don't know if I'll be spending the time during errands or making like another plushie, but we shall see. I'll catch up with you all tomorrow because I'm too hungry and I just want to get up and go right now, and I'm kind of sick and cooped up of being in my room. So I'm gonna go do that. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow by the time I finish the book, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I have like another plushie or so made. If I don't, I'm gonna try to pray and see if I can make it to the town and go to the craft store tomorrow, get the stuff we need, and then use the time up to kind of attach the keychain hook here. So regardless, I'm gonna try to get to be productive and see what I can get done, but I'll see you tomorrow with updates on the book, and hopefully we can wind it up then. So hopefully it wasn't that boring, this vlog, but I'll see you tomorrow, and bye. Hi guys, so it's now the next evening, nightish, and I have gone ahead and finished the second half of the second book I was finishing while I was making the second plushie for this video. That is so confusing, but I'm so sorry, it's just the way it is. And so I'm here to kind of speak to you about it. While I was kind of listening, I didn't actually end up making another plushie like I thought I would, and I didn't end up going to the craft store either and listen to it on the way over. No, it was thunderstorming all evening, so now I'm scared because in a couple hours, technically tomorrow, it's gonna be my birthday. Let's pray to God it doesn't rain tomorrow, because all I want is some good nice daylight. But that's besides the point. Basically, that was the whole reason why I didn't want to step out, because it's all mucky and whatever, and like just wasn't in the mood to. So I stayed home and I ended up working out on this thumbnail I needed for like a different video. Didn't realize I had that to do, so I managed to listen to the rest of the book on Kindle assistive read as I finished my thumbnail out, got all my work done, and now it's crazy, it's nice, but the book is done, and so we can kind of speak about it. I think it's called If You Give a Lawyer a Kiss or something like that. I'm not really so sure, but essentially I picked it up because of the cover, completely regretting my decision. This book is the reason why you should not judge books by covers, because I thought it was cute, I thought it'd be sweet. No, I hated this with every fiber of my being. So here's summary time before I tell you why I hated it. Essentially, it follows this girl, Reese. She's kind of running away from this like really creepy guy she was like on a date with or whatever, and he's like following her or whatever, so she needs to get away somewhere safe. And it's like later in the night or whatever, so the only place that's open is this like tattoo shop or whatever, and there's this guy in there who's like this really like, I guess, grumpy looking tattoo artist who's just like waiting in there or whatever, kind of packing up or whatever because it's late in the night. And so she goes up to him and she kind of tells him to like please block her way or whatever, not let that guy, the creep, see her. And he's just like, okay, fine. So he ends up defending her and he sends the creepy guy away, except they stay back in the tattoo shop and they have this like conversation, and from there it kind of goes into them kind of kissing or whatever, and then she never sees that tattoo artist again. Now flash forward 3 months, Reese, she's kind of working as this paralegal in this like New York firm. It's really like this huge place, and she's having a good time working there. She's just like interning or something like that. I'm not really sure about the details, but she has to get into this meeting one day, and so she goes, except she realizes that the big boss of the company, essentially the guy at the very top, is the guy she kissed in the tattoo parlor. But it makes no sense because she kissed a tattoo artist and this guy is one of New York's most like high-powered lawyers or whatever, and suddenly she's just wondering what went down. So as it turns out, the guy is essentially called Dawson, and he's kind of living this like double life wherein he works as a lawyer by day, and then at night time he runs that tattoo parlor or whatever. He's a tattoo artist, and now she knows his little secret, so she starts working for him still. They keep going as they were, except now he's kind of forcing her to come work with him on the same projects or whatever to keep an eye on her so that secret doesn't get out. Except the thing with him is he's a control freak, he's like a grump, he's very weird or whatever in that sense, and so he doesn't really do relationships, but suddenly he finds himself starting to fall for her because it was just one kiss, but now he wants more and he's kind of going to try to take it from her. And I will say the summary of the book on Goodreads specifically says that she's not the kind of girl who will let herself be pushed away by him. No, this girl had absolutely zero backbone when it came to anything, so he was just taking all the calls in the relationship. I'm glad that was realized at the end, but it wasn't really sorted in the best way, and so she was just letting herself be pushed around by him, and it was very insta-lovey, and I didn't see the chemistry, the connection whatsoever. They kissed one time and they're like obsessed in love with each other, and I'm just like, because even the kiss was like really fishy. So do not come after me, but I hate it every second. This, I realized, is like a novella and like a bigger series, so it's my fault I picked this up instead of picking up the beginning books of the series and reading something full length. But then also it's 250 pages. I've read other 250 page books, case in point My December Darling, because that one was also 250, but it was so much better than the way this was handled. And so I'm coming from a standpoint of saying that, listen, I've read better novellas, so I know that, you know, this could have been better. It's just the way this was handled from the very beginning. It felt very YN, like classic Wattpad moment. You know, she's having some sort of struggle, in flies in her knight in shining armor, him basically to kind of solve it, throw money at all his problems and fix it. And that's just not the way it works, because I feel like there were, you know, certain situations, and instead of showing her that, oh, I'm not just helping you, he helped everyone in the vicinity, and that's really nice. But also it's very unrealistic, and it just comes out of nowhere, because you guys know each other like one day. So I don't know, I didn't have the best time. But I will say, you know, there were a couple cute moments here and there. He was like bringing her takeout and letting her study at her law office or whatever, because she wanted to take the LSATs. And again, that's really sweet. But then also that makes me question how competent he is as a lawyer or whatever, because aren't you like paying her on your company's dime to be working rather than studying? I don't want to sound inhumane, I'm just saying that's not very realistic, and it's not very, this could happen in real life. It just very much gives the authors turning the story around to fit into the story, so the plot keeps changing just so it makes sense and you like swoon over the guy. But also it makes absolutely zero sense, because like, how does he have the time, number one, to live as a double lawyer, I don't know, tattoo guy? Because genuinely I need some tips so very much. I'm struggling with the two things I have on my plate, and this guy can run literally two different careers and be successful at both. And then not just that, the whole, again, bringing her food at night and letting her study on the firm's dime or whatever, like that came out of nowhere. It was sweet, don't get me wrong, but also, is that really professional? And then there were other things happening in the background that, again, it felt very much like the author was just throwing in these situations and it was just happening out of nowhere. One thing I did want to mention, something I thought of at the beginning of the book, she says she puts her hair into this like messy bun, and that just made me think, you remember back in the days where there used to be stories wherein the girl, she'd have like the perfect messy bun, and the next morning she wakes up and she goes downstairs and she realizes her mom has sold her to One Direction? This was literally that kind of book. Like, if you told me that Reese gets sold to One Direction at the end, I would believe you, because that's what it felt like. This felt like something you'd sit up late in the night reading some, I don't know, trashy Wattpad or whatever on your phone and still having a good time reading it because it's Wattpad. But as you're reading it, you are realizing it's Wattpad, and so I don't really know. Just conflicting feelings. Basically, I hate it every second, but also I kind of had fun going along with it, kind of hating it. So I had fun having a bad time. Does that make sense? Like, I was having fun watching, you know, things happen, predictable shit, because you see that from Wattpad or whatever, and having fun kind of making fun of what's going on in my head, and so mocking it was fun, but I really didn't have a great time reading it, and so I'm gonna say like 2 stars. My review is very scattered, but also I don't even care. That's how I feel right now. So that's the end of this book. We're just gonna move past it because I don't want to speak about it anymore. I'm done having a bad time with books, and yeah, that's about it. So moving on now, we have reached the end of this vlog. I know I crocheted only 2 plushes in it, but we read 4 books and I think that's pretty decent. I will try to make like a part 2 to this some point later in the month when I finally get this stuff for my best friend's gift, because I haven't worked on it yet and I'm really freaking out worrying about that, because that is more important to me than anything. And so we'll have a second vlog coming at some point when I start working on it. Maybe send in a couple other patterns of your choice that you like me to try out or whatever, because I do have a bunch I want to get to. It's just welcome to the life of a Gemini. I cannot pick the ones I want to try, so we'll see what I end up doing, but there definitely will be a part 2 at some point, so stay tuned for that. And hopefully you didn't hate this like whole scattered mess chaotic reading vlog. I don't even know what's going on in it, but that's it. We've reached the end of this video. If you had a fun time coming and watching me crochet a couple little plushies that, you know, maybe didn't turn out so great because I'm not obsessed, I'm not a fan, but regardless, if you had a fun time coming along with me, like, comment, share, subscribe. YouTube things, you know how to do them. And if you specifically want the videos I used for my plushies, the first one was my pattern, so there's no video on it. I could make one, but I hate it, so regardless, depends on what you guys want. And the second one I found off of YouTube, but I modified the pattern completely, so I don't really know how to help you with that, but I'm so sorry. Regardless, we are here now. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you enjoyed anyway, and then I'll see you hopefully in next week's reading vlog whenever it comes out or whatever. Until then, please take care, have a great rest of your day. Again, don't hate me for this random over the place reading vlog, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Take care.